Hey, welcome guys. My name is Shane Werthner and we are back again for another Athletistry tutorial. Today we're going to be working on battement tendu jeté, or jeté for short. Now in some techniques this is also called dégagé, and it's interchangeable depending on where you are in the world. You may be hearing dégagé more than jeté. You also may hear glissé, so there is a slight difference between glissé and jeté, but we're going to cover all of it today. We'll talk a little bit about each of the different heights and the dynamics that we're trying to work on, and then we will also make sure that we're connecting it back to the tendu that we learned in the previous tutorial. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff, so that épaulement, the line of the foot, the line of the leg, how to get your leg to the right position, and the kind of the dynamic that we should be feeling to get you doing the right feeling for this jeté. So if we come to the bar, like we did yesterday in our tendu tutorial, or even if you're watching this at another time, basically what we're going to do is exactly the same thing that we started with the tendu. So we've learned our tendu now, we're in the right position. We've learned that when we're going to the front, the heel is coming forward first and our toe is closing back into the position. And then as we're going to the back, the toe is going first and the heel is closing into the position. So what we're going to do is we're going to start like we're doing a tendu. So we're doing our preparation here. Like we're doing a tendu, our heel is coming forward, heel is coming forward, we're going through that demi-point position, and then instead of just pointing to the floor, we're going to flick our toes across and throw our leg into the air. Now as we come down from that position, we're reaching our big toe towards the floor, and then our toes are coming back and closing into our fifth position. Again, remembering, like we did in the tendu, trying to get as long and stretched up in that standing leg as possible. So the same thing if we go to the side, going out through that demi-point position, reaching, pushing the toes off of the floor. The toe push off of the floor is really important. I'll explain in a second why. And then the toes are coming back down to the floor, coming back through that demi-point position, going through first position into fifth. Now when we go to the back, we're going through toes, we're going first through the demi-point position, extending that leg up, and then the toes are coming back down. Now making sure in this position, this is something I didn't talk about in the tendu, as we're closing in, we don't want to reach the big toe towards the fifth position. We're keeping that foot in a winged alignment as we come into the position, and then we're getting the foot onto the floor and we're closing into that fifth position. Okay, so now I talked a lot about pushing the floor away from you, so flicking the toes across or pushing that floor. The reason why this is important is because when you eventually start to do sautés or assemblées, the push off of the floor comes from this step. Okay, so the way that you're using your feet in your tendus and in your jetés is going to be super important to making sure that when you do later jumps, you're finding the right connection, the right coordination to get off of the ground in your jumps. All right, so one of the ways that we start with jeté is just by doing it en croix. Okay, so do one to the front, one to the side, one to the back, one to the side, or one devant, one de côté, one derrière, one de côté. And what we want to do before we start really closing into fifth immediately is we want to stop in the pointed tendu position. So we're training our body to go through a pointed foot. Because one of the biggest mistakes that we see in a jeté is that you get that good push away from the floor and then the foot starts to flex before we come back to the floor. Okay, so what we're going to do, just follow me, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and finish. Okay, so jeté or battement tendu jeté means that we're stretching that leg, but we're lengthening the leg and we're throwing it out into the air. So jeté means to throw. So we really want to throw with as much energy as possible. If you were taking a ball and throwing it across a room or trying to throw it across a field, you wouldn't just kind of like let your arm drop and then hope that the ball goes flying. You would put as much energy and throw that all the way as far as you can. Now, at the beginning of the video, we did talk a little bit about some different heights or some different types of this step. One is dégagé, one is glissé, and then we have obviously battement tendu jeté. I find that the difference between the three is generally going to be the height of the leg. So with glissé, you're really only leaving the floor just a little bit. Dégagé is probably going to be a little bit higher, and then jeté is going to be that 45-degree angle. So between the floor, parterre, and en l'air 90 degrees, we want to have that kind of cut directly diagonal across that line. You imagine a 90-degree angle coming out of my body. That 45-degree angle is where we want the leg to get to. And this is going to also translate again to things like assemblée, petit jeté, pretty much anything where we're jumping off the ground and starting with a brush. Okay, so jeté at the bar, battement tendu jeté is very important for the brush that we're going to use later on in our jumps. Now, again, how many should we be doing? Again, you know, this is something obviously that you would practice in your classwork, and then trying to work on different dynamics of this movement, okay? So one thing that I like to do is to face the bar in a first position, because this actually helps a lot to get speed. And I will just go 8, 8, 4, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And you want to feel that foot pushing through the floor, pushing off of the ground, and then coming back through the tendu position and back into that first position. That really helps to develop your speed. And then when you get that speed under control, then you can start to do faster jetés at the bar in fifth position. You can start to go and just do one in each direction. You could even do something like 7 in each direction, 7 to the front, 7 to the side, 7 to the back, 7 to the side. And really, as you're doing it, think about what you did with the tendu, where you were working against that band to close the leg in. This is going to really help to strengthen the closing of the legs. And then for things later on, like battu work, entrecôte, entrecôte, which I get asked about a lot, that's where this comes from. So the speed of your legs, the ability to close and make that connection really, really well, is a big part of those jumps. Now, last thing I want to talk about, because this is very important. When you're doing this movement, try to show the finish position and the close position and not much else. So if your jeté is looking like this, we're missing the dynamic of the movement. And so what we want to find is, as we do the jeté, you want to get there and close, and get there and close, get there, 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 get there, close. Make it really precise. Don't just bounce out, find the position, close. The more precision you can develop, the cleaner your legs and lines are going to be, and then you're going to have a much easier time when we get to more advanced movements like grand battement, or even things where we really have to get to a position fast, like ballotté, for example, frappé. All of those movements will be much easier because you will have developed the speed and the coordination in the earlier bar movements like plié, tendu, and jeté. Hope this has helped, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. We hope that the next tutorial will be great for you as well. Tomorrow we're going to be doing rond de jambe à terre, and we'll be talking about how the former movements like tendu and jeté relate to that in our positioning and how we connect those things. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.